everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Athlete Diaries. I'm here with Tom Flood, a great friend of mine. I'm really excited to have him here. And truthfully, I'm going to get into his introduction later, but we are in the middle of a conversation, so I'm going to ask him to repeat what he just said, and we're really going to just kind of dive in here. We're going to work back and do it the way we normally do it, but...
All right, so basically what I was talking about is how, a lot of people struggle with, I guess, self-identity in a way is a good way to describe it. So I'm saying the best way to, reinforce it, because some people just genuinely don't like where they are. And that's normal. Okay. Everybody always wants to become better. That's perfectly normal as a human being. But if you want to make yourself better, what I personally did was I started off with daily affirmations. I know it's not meant for everybody, but it's just simply thinking of, 3 things that you like about yourself, or just 3 positive things on that day. And it's personally helped me just because it's given me a better, not only look on myself, but better look on things. Because as opposed to going into it with a pessimistic view, I now have a better outlook on it, and I'm not going to view myself down as much. So, example, going into a game, you have bad confidence issues, and you're looking bad on yourself. You're not going to go out there and perform that you need to perform at.
Exactly.
But if the idea that I'm getting at is that if you just constantly reinforce that idea, that it's eventually going to become a part of you in a way. Yeah. Just because you're constantly giving your reassurance and just that look into it from a different perspective about yourself.
Okay. So, all right. So this is what I was saying. So this is not my rebuttal. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I agree with everything that you're saying right now. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. In a sense of having the confidence in that affirmation. So instead of saying, let's say you don't like the way you speak. You don't like the way you know what I'm saying, you have a lisp. Mm-hmm. You can sit there and tell yourself the affirmation of, I speak fine, whatever. Or you can go and do the work and put in work to, work on the list.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And so now you're going to, because of that work, have the confidence that you're not talking with that list, but so you're automatically going to feel confident, right?
Yeah.
So so I'm not going to say, I'm not disputing what you're saying, because, talking to yourself is something I'm very big on. You most definitely got to talk to yourself 100%. And communicate with yourself. That's the best way to get to know yourself.
Yes, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, basically.
Have to.
If you
have
to
to
become the best version
of yourself. You have to.
Yeah.
Be able to sit down on your bed, have a 15-minute conversation with yourself, mm-hmm. and not, not shy away from anything that you might come across in your head.
Yeah, I got you.
But I'm saying on the outside of it, if you are doing things, the right things, mm-hmm. that confidence and the excitement to wake up during the day, or when you wake up, is going to be there already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So, I get, every day you wake up, and it's not going to be, I'm happy to wake up today. That's not what I'm saying. No. Because you're going to have days where you roll over and you're like, I could stay in bed a little longer. I'm not tired. I did a lot yesterday. Mm-hmm. But it's the feeling of, man, I'm awake today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's always good to wake up.
Yeah.
Everybody does it.
Yeah. And when you look at yourself, you're going to be like, man, I'm me. I feel like me.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're doing the right things, you can wake, you know what I'm saying? You wake up, I wake up and I do yoga and I meditate and I
agree. I do the exact same thing.
And it makes waking up so amazing.
It does.
So amazing.
It eases it up for you, and it just kind of gives you a really good way to start your day.
You know what I'm saying?
Clear-minded and ready to go.
So amazing. So I just think that's one thing that I feel I just wanted to touch on real quick. I just feel like it's not. I agree. You gotta most definitely talk to yourself when you wake up. I most definitely would not say tell yourself little lies. I'm not.
No, not at all.
Always be completely 110% honest with yourself. It's okay to boost yourself up, mm-hmm. but be honest with yourself 100%. But yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's go back to our normal format. So Tom, let's talk about where you from, how you grew up, how'd you get into football, all that kind of stuff.
Jeez. So originally I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Growing up to get into football, I was the youngest of 6. So, and my 2 older brothers always played football. So, growing up, you have an older brother and they're doing it. You think, I got to do it. I just got to do better than them. I got to do better than them.
Exactly.
So, I get into the sport that way. The hometown that I'm from is Lombard, Illinois. I went to Glenbard East High School where I played defensive end. Unfortunately, I'm at nose now, but got to deal with it. You know,
facts.
Got to deal with it. Got to work with it. But high school was really when I learned, mainly my senior year, is when I learned that I wanted to take football seriously.
Yep.
Just because everybody has those moments where like you look at it and you go like, I'm good at this. Like I can make something out of this. And it was my senior year because the problem with me growing up is that when I grew up, my body changed shapes and sizes all the time.
Okay.
So from like 2nd to like 6th grade, I was a short, fat kid. 7th to like 9th grade, I was a skinny little short kid. I got out of the fat stage, and then I just got way too tall. So I was always changing positions.
Yeah, for sure. I understand. Yeah. And
then senior year of high school, I'm about like 6'3", maybe like 215 at the time, and I find my home on the D line. Okay. That's where I learned that I'm good at this. Like I want to make something out of it. And then going through there, I mean, me and my head coach, we didn't have the best relations. I mean, it was the main thing. I just didn't, suck up to him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with
you. So coming out of high school, I didn't really get recruited a lot. I had Dayton and Drake. Those were the two schools that recruited me at first out of high school. I know, it is full circle. And the main reason I didn't get into those was because I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't take the ACT or SAT seriously.
Yeah.
I scored terribly. And I was just like, I'm not retaking it. So going closer towards the end of the year after my senior season, when I learned that I really loved this game and I wanted to play it more, I was told my coach I wanted to play college ball, but I had bigger aspirations for myself. He was like, "Oh, you could play D3, not for me." And literally as I thought that, saying like it wasn't for me, like D3 football wasn't for me, the next day I get a call from my local JUCO that I went to, College of DuPage, and I'm like this is a sign, like I'm meant to play a bigger level than this. Like I need to take full advantage of it.
Right.
So he calls and he's like, "Yeah, I liked your film. We want you to come and play for us." So I get off the phone with him, and my head coach is like, "So what was that about?" And I was like, "Oh, they're recruiting me. They want me to go to their team." And this just added fuel to the fire of what made me go JUCO. Was the first thing that man said after I said that. He was like, "I don't think it's a good idea." I'm like,
did he give you a reason why?
Yeah, no. I was like, "Why don't you think it's a good idea?" He was like, "I just think that you're going to sit and ride the bench probably 2 years and then play for the last year and eventually end up going D3 again." So I'm like, okay. Yeah. I was like, fine. I'm just not even going to deal with it. So I walked out of his office, and because the thing with like coaches, as you know, is like they have connections everywhere. So, being generous to the coaches that were recruiting me, I called them up and I was like, "Hey, I want to thank you for recruiting me and everything, because it's always nice to just have relationships with coaches, just because they always move around." And I was like, "Thank you for recruiting me. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I'm going to a JUCO instead." Yeah. And there was this one school which I actually almost ended up committing to, some D3 in Wisconsin at first, just because I liked it. And they really highly recruited me, so it made me feel good. Yeah. I know it was only D3 ball, but whatever.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
The process.
But like I called him and he called back, and the exact same thing. He was like, Do you know how hard it is to like go Division I in JUCO? Like you gotta wake up at 5 a.m. workouts. Like you gotta go up against bounce backs and everything. And I'm just like, this is another dude just trying to stop me, like for no reason. So not no reason. Obviously they wanted me, but
right.
But no, like I just felt that I wanted to take a shot at myself, and that I deserved to play at a higher level than what I was at, just because I wanted to take football more seriously. And going into JUCO, my first year, I played defensive end. Well, it was more 4I actually. Now that I think about it, we ran a 3-4. But I played 4I there. Played really well my first season, but the first couple weeks I was stuck behind. What was his name? His nickname was Chubbs. But yeah. But this dude was like a 6'3", maybe 280.
Oh,
yeah, he was a big dude. So I was behind him for the first 4, maybe 6 weeks. So it was a learning process, because I went from being that guy in high school. That's how everybody was when they go into college ball.
Right.
To then going here and you're going I'm going up against grown men right now. Grown men. And week 7, it was Iowa Central, and I got my first start. Because coach was like, I like how you're learning the playbook. You're moving well in practice. And I'm like, all right, this is my chance.
Right.
My first snap of junior college ball, I go up against a bounce back from University of Miami. Let me tell you, I got woken up to college football really quick.
It was big time.
Dude, just the speed of the game.
It was fast, yeah.
Way faster, especially since him. This man played at Miami.
Yeah.
The U.
Yeah.
And, dude, it woke me up to it. It made me realize that, like, I need to crank it up even more.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what those moments should do.
Yes, exactly. It was a complete eye-opening experience for me because I'm just like, if I want to go to that higher level that I want to go to, I need to put in more work for this. I was like, clearly, this man is way better than me. So I got worked most of the game. I will admit, I did get a sack on him, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Hit a little quick step outside to inside, got there.
Okay.
No, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he hit clamps.
That happens.
But no, like that, and honestly, like I'm thankful in a way that moment happened.
For sure.
Just because, it was just eye-opening, like I was saying. Helps you realize what you need to put in order what you want to get out of it.
For sure.
So, yeah. You want me to dive into how I got to Moorhead?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So, going after my freshman year, I'm going into my sophomore year, and I was anticipating big things because I played the last 5 weeks of the season because we had a bowl game too. Yeah, we ended up winning that, so that was pretty cool. So going into my sophomore year, I had big hopes of like getting a lot of playing time because the other guys that were ahead of me left, they got into other places, and I'm like, all right, like this is my time, I need to take advantage of it. And we get to week 3 and we play Arkansas Baptist, if I remember correctly, and I end up getting a grade 2 tear in every single ligament in my right knee. So I'm out for the rest of the season because I had to rehab it and everything. Just because it was everything, they were like, we don't want you to push it. I was like, fine, whatever. So I'm out the whole year, and obviously you're not going to get a lot of looks at JUCO unless you're like a dog your freshman year. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of people joke about like the JUCO struggle and everything, but no, like it's a serious thing, like 100%. Because it's just funny because we had to like buy our own gear, didn't get any of that, had to buy our own stuff.
Dang.
What else? We had to fundraise for our program sometimes, but what really annoys me is that now like my JUCO's like loaded. Loaded for no reason. I don't know why. Yeah, we had to like fundraise to like raise for our travel and everything. It was ridiculous.
Like high school.
Yes, literally. I'm 19 years old at this point, still fundraising for football.
That's very humbling, though. I feel like that teaches you a lot.
It does teach you a lot, and that's like the cool thing about it is that a lot of people just don't understand just the different degree that, in my opinion, you have to work at the JUCO level because everybody, in my opinion, the JUCO level it can be a we thing. But in all honesty, it's a me thing in JUCO. It is a me thing in JUCO. You have to do in order to get yourself to that next level. It doesn't matter about everybody around. That's how it is. Yeah. Like that's just like they'll help you along the way, but otherwise, I'm keeping them my business. Don't bother me.
This is on and off the field.
Yes, this is on and off the field.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. No, like that's how it was. And I mean, you could have like your little friend groups and everything. Yeah. But no, most of the time it was like, I'm focused on my game.
We all know why we're here.
Yeah, we all know why we're here. Don't bother with me. Yeah. And that's why I liked it, just because it gave you that mood, like the mood that you need to establish. Yeah. Because, you going in there fresh face and you're like, oh, let's go. I can get this. Then you get there and everybody's like, don't bother with me. I'm just focused on why I'm here. And that's it. But anyways, going into that sophomore year, messed up my knee. So I'm not going to get a lot of recruiting. So we go into National Signing Day. I have no offers. And I get a phone call, Louisiana area code. So I'm like, oh, okay, like this is my chance. And this is a true story. I'm not BSing this. This actually happened. Pick up the phone, and he says, hey, this is Coach Stoops at Louisiana Tech. We want to offer you a full ride. We really like your film. Yeah. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I pull up my phone, I'm looking, I'm like, they're playing Texas week 1 next year. I was like, I'm about to play at Texas, like playing against them. So I'm getting ecstatic. And he was like, yeah, we really like your film. We want to get you here on an official visit. And I'm like, all right, sounds good. I was like, does next Friday work that I can come out? He's like, works out. We'll set up your flight and everything. Right before the phone call ends, he says, yeah, man, we're really happy to have you, Malik. I'm like, what?
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
Did you mean to call my teammate Malik? And he was like, didn't even say anything, hung up the phone.
Wow.
So that was how I started off my recruiting process in JUCO.
That's crazy.
But then everything happens for a reason.
Facts.
Not even kidding. I think it was probably like 2 or 3 days later, and Coach strolls into the office.
Yep.
And I don't know what it was, but like the way that he talked about the program, because we weren't the best my first year here. We weren't. But he described it clearly as like there's changes coming to this program, and he actively recruited me. He made sure like that, you know, I was talked to and like negotiated with, or however you want to describe it. The entire recruiting process, literally 3 days after that phone call happened. Yeah. And I just felt like that was a sign. I was like, I had that just happen, and now I have another D1 school, which I'm very thankful for. Yeah, we're PFL. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm still playing against
D1 teams.
D1 team, Montana, JMU.
Yeah, tight.
Yeah. And I'm getting that experience. But, like, just the fact that happened 3 days later, and just the work that I felt like I put in at JUCO for all the crap that I had to go through, that it was right for me. I was like, this is Moorhead. Like, I need to go here. Go to my visit. Ended up liking it even more. Bo hosted me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bo hosted me, and you knew Bo. He was a leader, so he obviously talked up the program and everything. And I was like, I don't see why I shouldn't come here. Yeah, for sure. Shouldn't come here. And then signed the line, and a semester later, I was here in Moorhead, which totally thankful for. Great experience. Really happy I didn't leave.
For sure.
Great one.
For sure, that's great. So growing up in Chicago, what was that like? So like, how far? Like, did you grow up in Chicago, or like how far?
When I was younger, yes.
Okay.
Yes, when I was younger, yes. It was Evergreen Park. It's on the south side of Chicago. You literally take, I think, 95th. Yeah, you take 95th down 13 minutes. You're in the city.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird. The reason being is that I was the only white kid in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was weird at first just because, like, I didn't know what it felt like to, like, you know, be the odd one out in a way. So, growing up, I was just like, whatever, I'll get with it. And I'm fine.
Facts.
But it's definitely, it's different, you know. You gotta develop tougher skin, thicker skin for sure. Just because in the city, everybody's got somewhere to be. Everybody's got something to do. You get in somebody's way, you get yelled at. Yup, no, it's yes.
I was just in New York, and that's literally what it was.
Yes, that's literally what it is.
You were a split second late on hitting the gas pedal on the green.
Boom.
Dog.
Horns, everything.
Oh, man.
Everything.
I'm like, yo, calm down.
You bump into the wrong person, forget about it.
Yeah.
You might as well just
get
turn it in right there.
Yeah,
He's like, yep.
Well, so a question that I always ask people, and part of the whole reason of this podcast is, what is one of the darkest and hardest things you've been through in your life, and what did you do to get yourself out of that time? Like, what is the steps or the process or the message or whatever it was that helped you get through? What was it?
So, in my opinion, the hardest thing for me didn't hit until I'd probably say I was 17 or 18. Just because of the fact that it was right before I was going to JUCO. Another reason why JUCO was a pain. The hardest thing was that literally as soon as I turned 18, parents didn't tell me nothing at all. They were just like, hey, we're moving, we're out of here.
Yeah.
I'm like, where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
And they're like, you're in college now, you got to basically figure that out.
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay. All right. So I'm out here basically on my own and trying to figure it out, which I was staying in my house, by the way, that was going to be foreclosed like 3 weeks later because we ended up like turning into the bank because it was debt, everything, you know.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so at my house that's going to foreclose in 3 weeks, don't know where I'm going next. It was just a really eye-opening experience, just because I don't know if this is the right way to describe it. It literally felt like, in a way, I had like a countdown, almost on my life, basically. If that makes sense.
No, with you,
yeah, because living on the streets, it's a completely different thing, but it was just difficult to understand, because a lot of people go off to college like when they turn 18. It's like that's their first time on their own. This was my first time on my own. Parents up and left. I have a house that has like 3 weeks left. I got to find somewhere else to go.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is also while I started to enroll in everything in JUCO, so I had to figure out a way to get there and back because I didn't have a car at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a reason why was because I crashed my old 1999 Ford Ranger. Dude, it was awful. But
wait, how'd you crash it?
How?
Yeah. How'd you crash it?
So I'm driving home from work because I had to support myself at the time.
Yeah.
Driving home from work, and this guy in front of me is driving because it's faster traveling there, like you said in New York. Guy's going. Forgets that he has to turn right here.
Yeah.
Slams on the brake last second. So I'm sitting back, and I was still fine. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's braking. Whatever. So I press the brake pedal, and all of a sudden I just hear clunk. And I was like, what? Brake pedal went all the way to the floor. I'm like, huh? So I look over to the left. I see a car coming this way, and I was like, I need to go over the curb. And I look over to the right, tree right there. So I'm like, hit this guy, tree, or get hit by somebody else. I'm like, I gotta hit this guy.
Yeah, hit the guy.
I gotta hit this guy.
You gotta hit the guy.
Hit him, and then the funny thing was that it wasn't even bad because he had old steel van.
Yeah, okay.
His bumper went here to there.
Yeah.
Walk up to the window. The man's like, oh my gosh, dude, my neck. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, man. This dude gets literally later on, because the cops didn't do anything. They were just like, your car's totaled.
Yeah.
Get a ride home. Nothing you can do. Give him your insurance. I'm like, fine, whatever. Then this guy, after complaining about his neck, gets out of his van, walks perfectly fine to the back of the van, takes up, for some odd reason, opens up his back van door, gets mad, slams it, and then his window on his van falls out and slams on the ground. Cracks.
Yeah, it's karma.
And I was just like, that's karma for you
karma
right there.
Right there, baby.
Literally, man just walked out like nothing was wrong with his neck after you were just trying to say that there was.
Yeah. That's karma right there. But anyways, back to the story. Continue about your house and...
Yeah, but like I was saying, having that 3-week period and just stressing about where I'm going to put my head next, because I had nowhere else to go, and all my families either have their own families, and they can't have somebody there, or they're too far away. No, there's no in between. But it got to the point where, obviously, I was on my own, trying to, piece together, what's going on next. Because, like I said, I had to go to school, practice, had to work a job, too, and just trying to figure out how I'm going to manage to do all that while not having a place to, lay my head.
Right.
And then it got to the point where I was on my own at one point, because I ended up getting an old 2006 Corolla. Yeah, the thing was nice. I missed that thing. That thing just died on me. But ended up getting that, and still no place to lay my head. So I'm like, I at least have a car.
Yeah,
that gives me something.
Facts. And
simply balancing that with everything else, it takes a toll on you.
Facts. It does.
Just the feeling of being alone and not literally having nowhere to go. It's taxing, and it's so stressful. Especially since, the whole JUCO thing is trying to get out the mud,
Right.
Get to the next level, get it made, and it's just difficult to try and do that and give 100% into the sport that you love, but you also have to take care of all these other facets for yourself on your own, and it just makes it was just I'm trying to think of how to word it. Sorry, you're making me revisit this, and I'm just like...
No, no, that's... Take your time.
No. It was humbling. That's the best way that I could describe that. Just because I've seen the lowest of the low, because I've been there, and the main thing that drove me to, because like you were saying, you asked about what drove me and got me out of this.
Yeah.
And the main thing that drove me was just obviously my dream of playing Division I football. Like, people don't understand how much a goal can really drive you.
Right.
And like just keep your head up each day. But that goal, just because of how much I wanted it and how many people doubted me and all that, just added fuel to the fire and made me want to get that. And that really helped just me overall, just because while balancing all those other issues outside, football was the place where I can go, I can just be myself, and I can focus on the thing that I love.
Right.
It was literally like an escape.
Right. Because
then it got to the point where I ended up getting a place. It was with my grandma, who didn't want me at first, by the way.
Oh,
that took months to talk to her into it.
Man.
And the only way I got into it was if I had to start paying, like, I think it was like $500 in rent at the time.
Oh, man.
Yes, $500 in rent. But just the fact of being on your own and not being wanted by anybody, because literally my own family told me no multiple times at first. Just that dream of going on to D1 football and finding somewhere better that I could take that step to, it really drove me and kept my head held up high.
Yeah, that faith.
Yes, that faith.
Faith, yeah.
Because we always talk about it. What you put in is what you get out.
Right.
And I strictly lived by that mentality. And I thought to myself, I was like, the only way I'm going to get out of this is if I keep working for that goal that I want.
Yep.
Nowhere else is it going to get. Division III, I'm still going to have to pay a bunch out of my pocket.
Yeah, it's going to be close to the same thing that I'm in now.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be ridiculous. And just having that constant goal and just the drive for it definitely helped me get out of there, just because it was a pain. I mean, I'm not going to exaggerate it or anything, but like people like Fred, which... Did you interview Fred?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were just there in New Jersey.
People like Fred, that man...
Different.
I would say mine was definitely like 100%. It was a struggle for sure, trying to balance getting my food and everything on my own. But Fred was something else.
Yeah.
Fred, and
he had faith. He had his driven
exactly
goal in mind.
Yes.
For sure.
It's just a common... Obviously, his situation was worse than mine. Bless that man for what he had to go through. But it was just that commonality of us both having that goal and that drive.
Yeah.
Because Fred, that man, because didn't he walk on at Rutgers?
He did.
The amount of drive and dedication that you have to take to be a walk-on at an FBS school.
With no crib.
With
no crib. He's sleeping at the stadium.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes. That, like, it was just the commonality that we both had that goal that we needed, that we know would have made better for ourselves.
For sure.
And that's definitely what obviously drove us. And, you know, just a really good way to look at it, I guess you could say.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, good. I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy to have met you. You come, you know, we've come a long way since I first met you, football-wise and then shape-wise and mentally-wise.
100%.
One of the things that I kind of took from what you just said, and something I kind of want to keep going on, is having that faith and that drive. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, so kind of like the affirmations thing, so a few things that you touched on, is that conversation you have to have with yourself. You know what I'm saying? As you're going through those things. And I feel like that's not something that a lot of people are educated on.
No, not at all.
And don't know how to handle.
Some people just don't want to look at the fact that in order, you need to make yourself better.
Right.
Like, you have to adapt.
You have to be intentional.
Yes.
About spending time and doing that.
Focusing on yourself. Yes.
And you have to understand that. So like if you call yourself being a mentally tough person, you have to understand that being mentally tough is something that you have to work on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? It's just like getting fit. It's just like growing a flower in a you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's the same thing. Once it stops growing, once it stops. There's no sign of life there. It's dead.
Yeah, no.
And it's the same thing with your inner self and your personal self. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like getting in shape, right? You can't work out for a year, stop working out for 5 months, and then wonder at the end of the 5 months why you don't look like you did. You know what I'm saying?
Like yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the same difference with your inner self. So I'm just kind of curious on some of the conversations you had with yourself during those times. You know what I'm saying? Just the inner thoughts that you had.
The main thought that I always had, which is another way that drove me, was that I know this is going to sound maybe narcissistic, but I'll always have me.
Right.
I always will have me, and that's the thing, is that I need to have those conversations, because sometimes you need to like look at yourself and check, like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Like, you can always turn to yourself in order, to ask questions. Like, literally, just taking that step back and looking at it in a different way helps you so much better. Like, so much. And just what I was saying about I always have me is that no matter what situation that I get into, is that I have myself in a way to back me up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're not going to let yourself down.
Yeah, I'm not going to let myself down. Yeah. Just having, because once again, like I was saying, the affirmations, constantly just telling myself that, like, I'm going to make it out of here. I'm going Division 1. It just, not that it automatically magically happened.
Right.
It just added to the drive that I had. Because constantly telling myself that over and over again made it more clear in my head on what I needed to do.
Right.
Because sometimes I would think to myself, what would somebody who would want to go Division 1 be doing right now?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Just be looking at it that way, because when you self-reflect, it's overall you're trying to make yourself better. 100%. So I would constantly just think, what would a Division 1 football player be doing right now?
Okay, yeah.
Just to help me out with that. And it would literally help me go throughout my days. Some days if I am lost and I have no idea what to do, I think of stuff like that.
Yeah.
What would they be doing? And it would help me give me a sense of direction on where to go next.
Right, because it's just like the premise of surround yourself with millionaires, you'll become a millionaire.
Yeah, surround yourself with the same
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you think like how you move, how a D1 player trains or acts, you'll become one. I'm with that. Yeah, I'm with that for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm about to say, no, that helped. I'm trying to think of some other conversations I had with myself. Oh, no, I do have my first year here in Moorhead, actually, I had to have a lot of self-reflection, especially into the regards of the game of football.
Okay, let's talk about it. How'd it go?
So, coming here my first year, we had Coach Rise.
Right.
Which at the time, I'm not going to lie, I hated Coach Rise just because I was a know-it-all JUCO kid coming out of football.
Right.
I'm coming out of there for the first time.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, Coach Rise made me a 10 times better player.
Sure.
More than that. Just because of the knowledge and everything that he pointed out to me. Not that he pointed out, that he was trying to show me, and at the time, I just wasn't looking at it. I was being that arrogant guy.
Right.
But that's when I started noticing where, like, I wasn't getting as many reps as I wanted, or I wasn't getting, like, the looks that I thought I deserved.
Right.
So I had to start thinking to myself, I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong that is not giving me the time on the field that I want?
Yeah. Hold on. I need you to say that again, because that's something that our generation is really struggling with, because it's very easy
to just hop in the portal.
That coach,
somewhere else.
You feel me, and blame everyone. That coach doesn't like me. I'm not one of the favorites. So I need you to say that again. Go ahead and say that again. So
what I thought about was, what am I doing wrong that is not giving me the time that I want on the field?
Yeah, 1,000.
Because that's the best way you can look at it.
Yeah.
There's no other. I mean, yeah, you can do that.
Right.
You can point the finger and just make it feel better and take the blame off yourself, like a lot of people do.
Facts.
But there's a certain point where you just have to say, forget about everything else around me. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to make this situation better?
Right.
And
that's in life and football.
In life and football. And that's
in
what
sport,
I love about football.
Yeah.
You know, coaches will always be saying, oh, football teaches you lessons. You hear it and you're like, no way.
Yeah, right.
Then you get older and you're like, oh.
Dang, I learned that in practice that one day.
A while ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And, dang it, I lost where I was. I'm awful at that. I'm sorry.
No, I be doing that. It says CTE, but we all got it. We all struggling with it for sure.
Coach Rice, he didn't point it out to me, but he just made me realize. Because Coach Rice, coming from Georgia Tech, by the way, which he shouldn't have been at Moorhead. He was a great coach. Yeah. Should not have been at Moorhead. Didn't he literally even say first day coming in? He was like, I took this as a challenge.
Yes.
yeah. That man meant business.
Yes, he did. Yes. He was real deal.
And that's why I respected him after.
For sure.
Yes. And that was part of the reason why I needed to look at myself. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Because it even got to the point where I started noticing that he was taking less time to coach me, and he wasn't paying as much attention as when I asked questions.
Right.
And it made me realize, I was like, I'm doing something wrong, that he's starting to believe that I'm not worth his time.
Right.
Like, one of the bottom of the barrel guys,
right.
like, fourth string type of dude.
Yeah.
And it made me go like, well, in order for this to get out of this situation, I can't blame anybody. I could say, oh, he hates me.
Right.
No, he hates me. Like, that's the only reason why I'm not playing.
Right.
No, I need to make it better.
Yeah.
Overall.
Do better.
Yes, do better.
Execute
That's
more.
That's the only way that you can.
Yeah.
A lot of people just want to sit there and point the finger at everybody.
Yeah,
like you were saying.
Like we did, like we talked about last week.
Yes.
Either you're a doer or a do not.
Yeah, you're a doer or you do not.
Yeah, it's that simple.
That's exactly what it is. And that, like you were saying, is that a lot of people in this generation don't get it.
Yeah.
Is that if you want to get where you want to go, you got to look at yourself.
Have to.
That's 100%, because 99% of the population isn't going to get where they want to go.
No.
Just where they are now.
Can't do it.
No, you have to change. You have to change,
grow.
adapt, everything. Yes. And that's what made me respect Coach Rice. Was because he gave me that eye open that I was like, I need to step up my stuff. Like, I'm doing something wrong. I need to change it. And that made me go into the next year with a completely different attitude.
For sure.
Because that's when I came back to football in shape. That's when I realized I had to do my footwork and everything. That I couldn't just do it strictly on talent alone.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be much more meticulous with it in college football.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that it's literally just more than what you can do on the field, too. It's just who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. Especially because coaches, they always say it, they're constantly, what's the word I'm looking for? Evaluating you. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And if you're a guy who goes out there and thinks that he knows it all, or just isn't taking the coaching, you're going to get left behind.
For sure.
And the only way, like I was saying, that you're going to fix that is if you take that change for yourself. You take that time to fix yourself overall in order to better your situation. Because that's the only way it's ever going to get done.
For sure.
You can't just sit there and pray that it happens.
Yeah.
Which, now I kind of understand what you're saying about the daily affirmation thing.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That is a different perspective.
You know what I'm saying?
Thinking about it first. Yeah. No, I understand that now. What else you got?
It's just. I feel like the actions and the words, when they coexist, it becomes so much powerful.
Yeah, No, that's exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's so powerful.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. Because sometimes, like with the affirmations, a lot of people just don't like doing things. Sometimes just because they feel bad for themselves.
Yeah.
And when you do the affirmation, it's not supposed to just magically make it happen.
Right.
It's supposed to kind of like help you propel into that right direction. Because if you do point out things that you do like about yourself, you're going to notice the things that you don't like about yourself.
That's true.
And that helps you narrow down, like, what do I need to work on now? Mm-hmm. It was like, okay, I like this, and this about me. And then that just opens up, like I was saying, all the other things was like, okay, now this is what I don't like.
Yeah.
This is what I need to work on in order to make myself better.
For sure.
And that's why you need to pair it with the actions. It helps you propel towards that action.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Ooh. Man. Well, it's just crazy because it's wild. Because first off, if y'all want to know, this is his second time on the show, but you guys are gonna get this before you get because he was on here with Devin.
Yeah, with Devin.
And so we actually covered so much in that first one that like everything, you know what I'm saying?
It's kind of wrapping back into
this one. It
is.
It really is. So it's kind of like, do we keep going or do we just cut it and let everyone catch the second one? Because that's where I'm kind of at right now.
I was about to say, no, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Leave it, you know what I'm saying? Leave him with a little cliffhanger or something.
Honestly, I'm not against that.
You feel me, bro? That's just kind of where we're at right now. Like, I just realized with like the last few sentences we said kind of went like completely repeated to what we talked about with Devin. So it's just kind of like, I might just have to leave you guys here and tell you to catch that episode when it drops. I don't even know what order it's going to drop in, but it's most definitely going to drop after you catch his and Devin's. So you have to do that. Otherwise, you might be a little confused on some of the things we talk about in the first one if you don't catch Devin's beforehand. So I appreciate all y'all coming here. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for having me.
Oh, no, I'm honored and blessed for you to do this with me. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. And y'all have a great one.